Welcome to This Explainer. If you look closely at the world around us, you'll notice we are living through a sprawling, silent epidemic. It's an absolute epidemic of mental stagnation. Night after night, in the quiet shadows of our own minds, we spin this incredibly comforting, seductive lie. We tell ourselves that tomorrow will be the day it all changes. Tomorrow we'll fix our habits. Tomorrow we're going to chase those big goals. Tomorrow we will literally step right into the shoes of the person we keep picturing in our heads. But then the sun rises, and the whole cycle just repeats itself. Well, today, we are breaking that cycle. We're going to decode this psychological gap between just planning things and actually doing them. And as you'll see, mastering your biology and your emotions is absolutely crucial to shattering this illusion for good.
So, I want you to consider a really familiar question. Why does tomorrow always look exactly like yesterday? I mean, you make the plans, right? You set the alarms, you get that massive burst of late-night motivation, but when the actual moment arrives, you hit snooze. You delay, you scroll, and man, it is so easy to label this as just laziness, to beat yourself up and think you just lack willpower, but the science tells a completely different story. This is not laziness, folks. This is actually a highly evolved psychological trap that your own brain has set for you. Okay, let's dive into this because this concept is absolutely fascinating. Psychologists call this temporal self-displacement. It's this built-in mechanism where your brain literally separates your present self from your future self. As far as your neurology is concerned, future you is a completely different person. So when you say, oh, I'll start that massive project one day, your brain actually believes someone else is going to do the heavy lifting. Crazy, right? And it gets worse. Your brain absolutely loves to imagine progress. When you picture your future success, your brain rewards you with a massive hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical, just for thinking about the change. You get the reward of having done the work without actually lifting a single finger. Now, this brings us to a massive cognitive dissonance known as the intention-action gap. Basically, this is the perilous space between what you plan to do and what you actually execute. Have you ever spent, say, 3 hours designing the absolutely perfect workout routine, or perfectly organizing your calendar, or watching endless productivity videos only to feel exhausted and accomplish nothing real? Yeah, that is the illusion of motion. See, your brain has completely confused motion with actual progress. Planning feels like work for sure, but it actually keeps you entirely stuck in a loop, just running on a treadmill of your own intentions. Consider this hard-hitting truth. One day is just a comforting lie, a mental lullaby that keeps you asleep while time moves on. Let's be real, one day doesn't actually exist on any calendar. It is essentially a safe word your brain uses to escape the immediate discomfort of putting in effort. It's a defense mechanism designed entirely to protect your ego from the very real possibility of failure. Think about it. You aren't really afraid of starting. You are absolutely terrified of what happens if you start, and the whole shebang doesn't work out perfectly. Section 1. The Biological Foundation. Reframing the body's clock. So, this mental stagnation we've been talking about, it's heavily reinforced by our physical habits, specifically how we recover. Psychologically speaking, people who view sleep as just some lazy habit or a luxury, well, they are the ones who most frequently struggle with extreme burnout and emotional instability. Sleep is definitely not a weakness. It is literally your brain's primary recovery mode. You've probably heard someone brag, oh, I only sleep 5 hours and feel amazing, right? Well, you sleep 8 and wake up feeling like you were hit by a truck. So why does this happen? Well, because your brain cares about the quality of sleep, not just the total quantity of hours. When your sleep is constantly disrupted by blue light, caffeine, or stress, you enter this state of fragmented sleep. Your body might be physically lying in bed for a solid 8 hours, but your mind is just constantly being pulled out of its natural rhythms. Basically, your body rests, but your mind utterly fails to recover. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how our brains actually measure sleep. Your brain doesn't just count hours, it actually tracks 90-minute sleep cycles. Within these 90-minute blocks, you have deep sleep, which repairs your muscles and strengthens your immune system, and REM sleep, which processes emotions, stores memories, and massively boosts your creativity. Now, if you wake up right in the middle of one of these 90-minute cycles, you experience what's called sleep inertia. That super groggy, heavy feeling where you can barely open your eyes. But if you plan your rest in blocks of, say, 4.5, 6, or 7.5 hours, waking up exactly at the end of a cycle, you shift smoothly into total alertness. This just proves that your biology can absolutely work with you instead of against you. So how do we guarantee we hit those cycles perfectly? Well, you need the 3-2-1 power down rule. Your brain desperately needs a biological signal to start slowing down, a process psychologists call cognitive offloading. Here's how it works. 3 hours before bed, stop eating heavy food. Digestion literally keeps your core temperature up and your body too active. 2 hours before, stop working and solving complex problems. Give it a rest. And 1 hour before, absolutely no screens. Blue light completely blocks melatonin and keeps your brain trapped in an alert, beta wave state. By stretching or journaling instead, you gently shift those brain waves over to a relaxed alpha state, ensuring a natural, really high-quality sleep onset.
And hey, once you master the night, you absolutely have to master the morning. The very first 10 minutes of your day completely dictate your psychological readiness. To clear that morning fog without relying on, an IV drip of caffeine, you need a morning momentum reset. First, step outside immediately and get some morning sunlight right in your eyes. This activates serotonin and naturally resets your circadian rhythm. Follow that up with some quick physical movement or just a splash of cold water on your face. Boom! This instantly activates your sympathetic nervous system, releasing natural energy boosters like dopamine and norepinephrine within minutes.
Section 2, Emotional Gravity, the subconscious signals of stagnation. Now, when your biology is optimized and your intention-action gap finally starts closing, something truly incredible happens to your external world. Breaking out of that physical and mental stagnation entirely transforms how other people perceive you in relationships and social dynamics. Real attraction and influence, they aren't built on rehearsed lines or playing silly games. They are built on a calm, really stable energy rooted in subconscious abundance. We call this emotional gravity. And listen, this is pure biology. It is not a parlor trick. Your brain is equipped with mirror neurons that are constantly scanning and copying the emotional states of the people around you. When you conquer your mental stagnation and project this quiet, grounded confidence, other people's nervous systems subconsciously sync up with your calm. They just feel safe. They naturally start orbiting your energy without even realizing why. This quiet confidence sends out some incredibly powerful silent messages. The first is emotional independence. Your tone and your posture basically communicate, hey, I choose, I don't need, operating entirely from abundance rather than a place of lack. The second is this really wild psychological principle called intermittent reinforcement. People actually get a rush of dopamine not when they simply have your attention, but when they anticipate it. Because you are so focused and calm, your energy becomes highly magnetic. You aren't desperately chasing validation out there. Instead, your unpredictable calmness actually makes others chase the feeling your steady energy gives them. It's a total game changer. All of this rests on a foundational psychological pillar called self-efficacy. This is the deeply held belief that your own actions actually shape your world. You prioritize your own internal direction and your life's purpose way over the distractions of trying to please everyone around you. When you are actually executing on your plans, when you are building something far bigger than just external approval, you naturally project leadership. You completely stop chasing validation, and ironically, that is exactly when the world starts wanting yours. Section 3. The Power of Today. Shattering the Illusion. Bringing our biological readiness and our emotional stability back together, we really have to confront that core trap, the illusion of the perfect moment. So the crucial point is summarized perfectly by this idea. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. We spend so much time just waiting to feel motivated, waiting to feel perfectly clear on the path before we take a single step. But motivation is a byproduct of action. Your future self is not coming to save you. There is no magical version of you that's going to suddenly appear out of thin air with tons more discipline and perfectly managed time. True confidence and true clarity are built entirely through what you execute today, right here in the messy, imperfect present. It really just comes down to a very stark reality, one day versus day one. The longer you sit around waiting for perfect conditions, the more your mind inevitably turns later into never. You simply cannot think your way out of mental stagnation. You can only act your way out. You have to finally decide to stop promising yourself a tomorrow that will just look exactly like yesterday. I'll leave you with this final provocation. You are not watching this explainer by accident. This information has found you at this exact moment for a very specific reason. The gap between one day and day one is the exact difference between simply dreaming about a better life and actually living it. So what's it going to be? The question is entirely up to you. Are you going to keep dreaming about one day, or will today finally be day one? The choice is yours. Let's make it count.